last module in this class. You can do it. You can accomplish the pre-chapters, chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and now you are in chapter 5. And chapter 6 is very small, so we are not going to worry about it. But you got to do it. But we're not going to stress about it. Yay, yay, yay. You got it. I'm happy for you. Okay, what are we doing in module 3, right? So this is module, I misspelled. This is module 3 overview. Let's put it in red. We're happy. We got this. We're almost done. I'm excited. Okay, so this is module 3 overview, and in this video I will give you a brief overview of what you're going to be learning in module 3. So module 3 covers chapter 5 and 6, all the 10 sections of chapter 5. It's a lot, I know. And then just section 6.1 and 6.2 of chapter 6, okay? Very small. So big concept, we are learning factoring. Very big concept, okay? So factoring is simply taking a number and breaking it apart into its factors, okay? So chapter 5 is factoring, okay? And factoring is taking a number and breaking it apart into its multiples, so its factors. So, in this module, in this page, you're going to see that I have a factoring flowchart worksheet. So you should definitely print that out and have it with you. Extremely important, okay? So the worksheet goes like this. Let me see. Yeah, it's there. So the worksheet goes, let me see, I have an example right here. Let's say, now, this might look, because you have to go through the chapter. You have to start with 5.1 and learn it and understand it. So I'm going to give you a brief overview. Okay, so if you were to have an example like this, and based on chapter 4, we know that this is a trinomial, that the leading term is 2x squared, that the leading coefficient is 2, and that the degree of this trinomial is 2. And we also know that -6 is a term, but is also a constant. Quick review there from chapter 4. Okay, so you're given this, and the directions are to factor. I want you to take this trinomial and break it apart into its factors, the multiples of it, okay? So I'm using my factoring flowchart that you should have printed out. And the first question always, is there GCF? Is there a greatest common factor? So you're going to look at each number and ask yourself, can I simplify 2, 11, and 6? In this case, you cannot. 2 is only divisible by 1 and 2. 11 is only divisible by 1 and 11. And 6 by 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. The 11 does not have something in common with 2 and 6. So we're going to move on, and it does not have a greatest common factor. Then the next question is, how many terms? It has 1, 2, 3 terms. Based on that, there are different options that you will see in the factoring flowchart. Now, after I check if this is a perfect square trinomial, which is not, and you will learn how to check that, I have arrived to using the AC method. So I always use the AC method to solve any trinomials like this. So the directions are, this is what you're going to do. We're going to take it slow. I'm using the AC method. Okay, so I'm using the AC method. Okay, now there are multiple methods. You pick the one you understand the most and that you get the answer right always. Okay, so the AC method says multiply the coefficient of A times C. So A times C, 2 times 6. Okay, and I'm going to ignore the signs of the 6. And that gives me 12. Okay, factors of 12 that will subtract to 11. Okay, so I have 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Well, the only ones from here that will subtract to 11 is 1 and 12. How do I know that's subtraction? I'm going to keep the first sign always. Then a negative times a negative is a positive. Do you notice how the signs are different? When the signs are different, what do? I subtract. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and use 1 and 12 because those are the only two factors that will subtract to 11. So, and then I'm going to go ahead and rewrite. Okay, I'm going to rewrite this trinomial as a polynomial of 4 terms using 1 and 12 to replace the negative 11. So I now have 2x squared minus 11x. I'm sorry, not 11x, 12x. Okay, minus 12x plus 1x minus 6. So the first one has to be negative, which is a negative 12. The second one has to be positive, which is positive 1. You have to check. Negative 12x plus 1x, does that give you negative 11x? Yes. Now that this is 4 terms, I'm going to split it down the middle and factor by grouping, okay? What does the first two have in common? A 2x. Okay, I divide both of them by 2x. I write my GCF in the front. This leaves me with x minus 6, okay? What can I divide both of this term by? If I don't see a number, I can always use 1. So I'm going to go ahead and divide both of them by 1. Make sure you always bring this sign down. So I'm left with x minus 6. You notice that this and this are the same? That means you're doing it right. Yay to you. So you're going to go ahead and bring that down. And then you're left with 2x plus 1. And these are the factors of this. Okay? You took this trinomial and you factor it out into its binomials, into its factors, sorry. And these are its factors. Okay? Now there are multiple methods of using for factoring. So you choose the one that it works with you. Okay? So factoring is big. I mean, this is just one method. This is just one concept of the entire factoring chapter. So it's very important you go through all your sections. Use the flowchart that is available in this page, okay? It's extremely helpful. And as always, make sure you write all the steps. You ask me if you need anything because I'm here to help you. Now the last chapter, which is chapter 6, it's just a radicals chapter, and I'll just give you radical. Okay. Now, this is dealing with square roots. This is the square root sign. The number that goes in here is your index. Okay. What you have in here is your radicand. Okay. Example of this will be, what is the square root of 4? So one number multiplied times itself 2 times gets you 4. Well, that's 2. Okay. The second thing will be, what is the square root of x squared? Well, if you remember from chapter 4, if you want to get, when you multiply, what do you do to the exponents? You add them, right? So how many x's do you have to multiply in order to get x squared? 2. So with the variables, the idea is you want to divide by the index. The index for this radical right here is 2. For the square root is 2. So 2 divided by 2 gives you 1x. I'll give you another example of that. X to the 6, right? Remember the index here is 2. You don't see it, but it's 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. Therefore, the square root of x to the 6 is x3. Okay? So chapter 6 is a combination of having numbers and variables inside. Okay? As long as you get the rules of it, you should be fine. So, again, yay to you for getting to module 3. I'm so excited, and we are almost done. We are almost done. You are almost finishing this class and ready for the next one. So make sure you ask me if you need me. Okay, I'm not going to repeat any more of that. You got this. I'm happy for you. Okay?